Are you being terrorized by these anti-aggro picks in RTA right now, but don't want to play standard? Do I have a solution for you called Dutch LQC? Stay tuned to find out how you can get one of your very own. But yeah, welcome back to my channel. We're done picking green Leica. Oh my god. I played a few games on stream and almost lost my mind after the last video, but yeah, we kind of re-geared our openers. Solo is our fastest opener, but I am struggling a bit with all these Ayufine pickers because she kind of is really good against a lot of aggro lately. The first opponent here makes the very typical Ayufine pre-bans, which are AOL plus Bryce area, so I have to pick Aiden first to steal it from them. And then my opponent decides to go for Scarewall, which is making a big comeback in the meta for some reason, and Phyllis. And this is probably Rocket Punch Phyllis, which is like 3k def on Rocket Punch. So my Aiden is going to have a very, very difficult time here, but I decided to pick Conqueror and Bunny Dom just because it's one of the best aggro openers, I think. That or it's Knockwall. But I don't have books for Knockwall right now, so I'm not too comfortable with early phasing Knockwall. Bryceria is banned. My opponent responds with Lionheart plus Ocean Breeze, but I'm picking really aggro anyway, so I don't think it will matter too much. And since we do have a dark unit to bomb, I decided to pick my Dutch LQC here. A lot of people do not expect this tech, but if you think about it, when LQC takes your turn, the game's usually over, so why not just make her 230 so you can speed up the whole process? Like, why make her fucking like 160 and then sit through like 10 minutes of standard and getting your LQC to the front? No. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to just go for the fastest win possible. Do the blind pick. Nobody expects this like really weird LQC build anyway. The name Dutch LQC refers to how the French RTA community used to love their like L's Fist LQC, but that was even a little low tempo for me. So I decided to make like a 215 LQC on Tachi. So she's self-sufficient, but she has more than enough nuking power to blow up like an Ayufine or whatever. My opponent does not actually end up picking Ayufine this match, but that's because I guess I had like Aiden on the board, so it's not the best matchup into them, but like this Phyllis is 3k def, which is infinitely tankier than like any Ayufine out there. I ban Ocean Breeze, and we're not able to get rid of Escort through traditional means, but we do have Opsig. And again, my Opsig is not on Guiding Light because I need her to kill things with just Vigor, and that kind of needs portrait damage. But since we do have portrait and attack buff, we overkill the Scarewall by like 10,000 HP, and we're able to just go for the S3 here. But I don't know if it's like kind of a cheese. It kind of is, but this is the season for cheese again because everyone's in blind pick and nobody really knows what anyone else has, and you're forced to respect the picks. But we're able to blow up the SC Phyllis here, and with the splash damage, we're able to just kind of cleave. I guess this is a cleave, honestly. See, it's the Dutch LQC, you know? I just don't think people expect the fast LQC, and I think it's a really, really nice tech, especially since she has her passive of like Adamant Shield or something, where like she reduces critical hit damage, so she offers some bulkiness to the team. So she's like a damage dealer plus like very, very light mitt. But I do understand that not everyone has access to LQC, and I am not saying you should pick her from the selector. I just really dislike the slow LQC playstyle and just wanted to experiment with my own, you know? And it's still getting tweaked out. Like, my Tachi's not max, but I'm finding that I only run LQC when I have like Bunny Dom anyway. So maybe L's Fist would be more sufficient, because L's Fist would give me improved cycling, especially with my like really high LQC speed. We'd be able to lap and get more turns, which might be nice, but she's kind of not super bulky anymore due to all her stats being in like speed and damage, which kind of sucks. But yeah, we move on to the second match. But I really have to say, like, I'm not loving where this meta is right now currently due to how weird everything is. Like, Ayufine kind of like messes up a lot of picks, I think. One pick that's really fallen out of favor right now is Architect Leica, because Ayufine cuts CR, so making it so that she can't actually cut after she Soulburn S2s, which means that Leica has basically just like fallen off the face of the planet. Which kind of sucks because I used to give my best gear to her, but now I have to put that gear on someone else, unfortunately. But that's fine. My opponent here kind of sides in like the Ayufine plus Aiden tech, so I have to figure out how I want to deal with it. But I kind of just decide to go for a really aggressive pivot. Okay, I guess my draft was already really aggressive with Zio with Jacko, but like they were bending over, you know? My opponent last picks Para, and this is like signaling that they're gonna ban Zio, and I don't feel like racing Paras with my Lua today, especially since I can't really reset or anything. So I just take the really safe ban. Oh, my opponent banned Zio, which was a little piggy, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, whatever. We actually make a misplay in the first part of this video, which is like how you know I'm a good content creator. But what we should have done here is we should have went for the sleep onto C Lilius, not C Lilius, RGB Lilius, because
yes, I did
the CR cutting passive makes it so that Jacko doesn't actually cut here, but Jacko's chains of Chiron are so balanced that it doesn't really matter, and we're able to just blow up this Fire Lilius here. And we kind of do route them a little bit. The Fire Lilius was also on a very squishy build. If it was any tankier, I don't think my Jacko would have killed, but I think it was a really high damage variant, which also does have its merits for like sniping Steny with LRK, but this guy pre-banned Steny, so that was kind of weird, but whatever. We're able to press S3. We don't land any death breaks because why would we? Bryce area is like the best unit ever, but it's fine. We have the other best unit in the world, which is Dutch LQC. And we're able to just blow up this Ayufine with Benimaru's Tachi attack buff. And then my opponent is just like kind of gagged, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't think they were expecting my LQC to be that fast, but it's fine. It's Aiden left solo, so basically they're just dead to the next time Bryce area is able to take a turn. And my opponent landing unbuffable on Jacko helps me finish out this game really cleanly, which is kind of nice because like Bryce area gets speed buff and Jacko doesn't, so the speed tuning works out. But very, very funny gameplay. I've been like trying out Dutch LQC or like this Aggro LQC. Can you even call it Aggro? I guess it's Aggro because LQC doesn't cleave your whole team, she just cleaves one dark unit really, really hard, and that technically is Aggro. So I'm calling this Aggro, even though a lot of people, especially the first game, a lot of people might call the first game cleave. Technically, I just one-shot their units one by one, not their entire team at once, so it's technically Aggro. But yeah, if you like these like really weird cooking hacks, as always, like and subscribe. We just hit 1k followers, and yeah, like that's a pretty big milestone that I am like pretty thankful about. So like thanks. I don't have anything planned for the 1k sub special because you know, like that would require brain cells, and unfortunately all mine are occupied in the job search for now. But anyway, the next game, there's another Ayufine, which basically means that I'm gonna force Dutch LQC. I'm too used to saying French LQC, but I'm just gonna force Dutch LQC to be in here just for fun. You get a lot of wins. Like I cannot stress enough how this season is the season for cooking. Like the amount of times I've been surprised by like 200 speed Celiases, not like 200, like 250 like high ER Celiases, or like really weird DPS techs that you just don't expect. It's just off the charts, no cap. But my opponent picks Fire Lilius to counter my Lua, but again, like everyone's running Guiding Light on their Lua, so it's pretty advantageous for me to run a very odd artifact because it skews a lot of the matchups, but people have to force people are forced to pretend like it's guiding light anyway, because you can't really risk it being an actual guiding light. My opponent last picked Celine here, and I could be a human being and ban that out, but I decided I wanted to be a gigantic ape, so we just banned it go. Like in 10 out of 10 cases, you should have banned Celine there, but I guess I had Bryceria or something, so I was just like really feeling confident about myself for some reason, which is very, 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 very risky, but you know, we play for content here on this channel, so what can I say? My opponent bans Bunny Dom, which I thought was a little strange, but I guess they thought I might ban something else, but because like the highest attack on this team is obviously going to be Bryceria, but you know what, I'm just not going to question it. We're like playing this like really cooking LQC build, so can't really comment on what's going on here. I do see though that in terms of the CR bar, my Briar is faster than the Lilius and Celine, and this is a problem I've been running into a lot, where I think my Briar is like too fast now, because a lot of these Lulu cars and stuff are actually being run at like 225 speed and stuff. So with speed RNG, we can't get outsped. We do get a lucky dual attack, but it doesn't matter, and I'll explain why it doesn't matter. Like I ripped my Bryceria S3 here, but after Bryceria S3, Celine does not have attack buff and she doesn't have soul. So she can S3 LQC if she wants, but it's just gonna push her up and not kill her. So I would have just been able to S3 for free. Or she S1's Lua or S3's Lua, and then Lily's able to S3 here, but then that would also push up LQC. And since there is no mitigation on this team, I would have had more than enough damage to just blow up this, what's it called? Ayufine here with the soul burn. So while it does look like an RNG win, it doesn't really matter, because you know, Dutch LQC powers, I guess. And yeah, like I've been having like pretty decent success with picking this LQC into Ayufine pickers, as long as I'm able to strip escort beforehand, and as long as like they're not cleaving, I guess, because there's a few weird people who are using like Ayufine as a cleave anchor, and I think I was like pretty disturbed about that, because a lot of my anti-cleave right now is about like CR cheesing, and with Ayufine you can't really CR cheese anymore due to how she cuts CR, and it's just like a really annoying passive. Why did they make Politis 2.0 except it's Bruiser? I will never understand. In my next match, my opponent bans Lua Aiden, which I thought was pretty strange, but like whatever. We go with it. We have to answer the C Lilius, because C Lilius is still somehow as good as ever, despite all the counter units in the world coming out for her, because you can just swap out the build as much as you want for some reason. But my opponent picks ML Ken, so I'm thinking it's fodder for French LQC, or Dutch LQC. Why am I keep saying French? It's Dutch LQC. So I think it's fodder for Dutch LQC. So I pick it, and I also pick Steny just because Steny is pretty good into ML Ken, because she can't get countered, and since I have like offensive buffs coming up, or I can pick offensive buffs, I always have the option to just soul burn him down like a monkey if I have to. My opponent picks Abyssal Yafine into my LQC, which I thought was a little bit interesting, I'm not gonna lie, but you know what, it doesn't matter. One thing I have to criticize about LQC is that her soul burn and imprint kind of suck, and what I mean is like her imprint is death, which is kind of weird for an offensive unit, but like I guess it makes sense if you want her to be bulky, but I don't know, it could be like crit chance or something to make building her easier. And then her soul burn being an extra turn, while not making it so that you can S3 again on the next turn. Like I guess I wish her S3 would reduce cooldown by 1 turn if you hit a dark unit, so she's like extra good at hitting dark units. But maybe that would be a little too overpowered if you have like Book and LQC. You can just like nuke dark units nonstop. But like whatever. It's fine. We banned McGo because we have like a mental illness. Like I do not want to talk about it. I cannot explain what's going on. But yeah, my opponent Celius goes, and I think my opponent makes a slight mistake here because I think my opponent should have pressed S3 because he doesn't really care about the skill nulls, but he might have appreciated the vigor. But they just go for the S1, which is like pretty understandable in itself. We get a CR push on LQC, but she goes in front of my Steny anyway, so I wasn't like too worried about that. But my opponent has no mitt and no anything, so I'm like pretty confident. But I think I make a mistake here because what I should have done is I should have S3 this Ayufine and then killed her like 2 times over. But I get concerned about ML Ken soloing my team, even though we just saw a Steny with attack buff and 40 souls. So she would have had more than enough damage to kill this Ayufine plus ML Ken, but apparently me at the time did not see it, so unfortunate. And we just kind of have to make do with what we have. And we're also left in a really awkward situation where this Ayufine is gonna go off eventually, and then the one thing that's soaking damage for me right now is this Karina. And this Karina is gonna die very soon, which means I'm forced to hit her. And that is really not good. I think I should have just went for S1 or S3 on something. Although, like, I should have left Steny alive. Like, I should have silenced... What could I have done? I could have not soul burned on LQC. I think that would have also been very good because then I could have just soul burned onto this continuously. But we do kill it here, but we lap too hard. We're too fast. And so we don't even put this to sleep, but it doesn't matter because she would have woken up anyway. But basically this Abyssal Ayufine is able to pop off now. And I was too worried about ML Ken for no reason, I think, because I had more than enough damage to kill the ML Ken afterwards. But ML Ayufine is able to go and traumatize me again, which kind of sucks, but I think this is a misplay. But I think this build has a lot of potential, especially since Strays doesn't hold a lot of people's Tachis anymore. Why not just put it on LQC and have a fun time? But yeah, these are my LQC stats. If you want to see, they're very interesting. This is still like 420 gear score, but the boot is like really bad. So you can obviously improve on it with better gear. But yeah, that's it from me, and I'll catch y'all next time.